Welcome to our Google Slides training session. In this session, we'll dive into powerful features of Google Slides to help create dynamic presentations and captivate your audience. Now let's begin our introduction to Google Slides. To access Google Slides, you can select your waffle and slides. We will walk through some of the Google Slide basics and how to create your first presentation. Once you open Google Slides, you will see the option to view a template gallery or to create your own by selecting Blank Presentation. If you would like to see other presentations or slides that have been shared with you, you can select this drop-down. You can do owned by anyone, owned by me, not owned by me. So not owned by me are presentations that have been shared with me, but I am not the owner. Owned by me is all Google Slides that I have created. Owned by everyone is the combination of the two. Let's get started with a blank presentation. Now that we're on a slide editing page, we have the option to add text, images, shapes, and even other videos into our slides. When you want to add a new slide, there's a plus sign here, and this will add a new slide. And if you would like to view different layouts for those slides, select the down arrow and then which layout you prefer. I'm going to create a Google slide presentation for our weekly team meeting. I'm going to call this Team Meeting Agenda. Notice how it's already saved in my drive. I like to remove these text boxes and create my own. So I'm going to remove this one and this one. Now, let's apply a background color so that we don't have this plain white screen. You can choose an image, maybe a school logo, or you can just select a color and then hit done. After you select your background, you can also select it again to add a theme. This will make all of your other slides have the same theme as your current slide. Now all the slides are the same background color. Now let's insert some text and an image. I'm going to select text box. I'm now going to draw my text box and type in team meeting agenda. And I want to change that font, so I'm going to highlight those words. Next to some fonts, you can see the ability to make them bold or a thin outline. I'm going to select a semi-bold. And now I'm going to change the font size. And just like in Docs, I'm going to go to Align, Center, and have that in the middle of my text box. I now want to change the color of the font. You can select any color you want, or you can create your own color by selecting the plus for a custom color. You can drag and drop the circle to create whatever color you'd like and hit OK. Now let's add some images. We're going to select Insert Image. I'm going to search the web. You also have the ability to insert GIFs and stickers. Now I want to insert a logo that I have saved on my computer to my presentation. I'm going to select Insert Image, Upload from Computer, and scroll down until I find the image that I'm looking for. After clicking on the image, I now have my logo. I'm going to resize it and then move it to the corner. We're going to add another text box. So I've now added a small detail about the meeting. I'm going to add this under here. And as you see the red line pop, this will show us that our new text box is aligned to be centered with our previous text box. I'm now going to adjust this one to be a little smaller as I don't need it to be as long as it is. And then I will adjust again. And now it's centered. I'm going to highlight, center a line. Let's draw a line. After drawing the line, I'm going to change the line color to white. And next to it, we can add or adjust the thickness of the line. Let's add some images. Images, search the web. I want to find a cartoon of a generic looking calendar. And select the one I want, insert. Now we have this calendar. We can resize it, spin it, and then we're going to check out the options. Drop shadow adds a little shadow behind each picture to make it look like it pops. You can also find images from other slides and online and simply copy and paste them. After you find an image you want, just select inside of your slide, right click, and paste. As you continue to work on your slide, you may want to see what it looks like in presentation mode. To do that, at the top right corner, hit slideshow. We can now see what this will look like when we present it. If you need to layer your images, as you put one over top the other, right click, select order, and then you can move an image all the way to the back or simply just backwards one if you have multiple layers. Now the pencil is behind the calendar. If we want it back in the front, bring the front. If we still feel like our slide is not popping, we can make adjustments to our background. Background, I'm going to select the color. This time I'm going to select a gradient. I still like this orange, so I'm going to make some adjustments. I'm going to select the color, gradient, and then we can select where we want the gradient view to come from. Center, bottom left, bottom right. So now we can see how the gradient color falls. Hit OK, and we've added a little bit more. Now let's move into creating more slides for our team meeting agenda. I would like to add a blank slide. I'm going to right click, delete this slide, and I'm going to change the background to the next one. Notice how I did not select add to theme, as we do not want to adjust the theme, just create one white slide. Now let's add a text box. Select the text, create the box. We are going to use this slide to go over the full meeting agenda. Now let's create a shape to go behind the word agenda. We'll select the shape that we want, make this shape as large as we need. If you do not want your shape to have a border, select the pen and then select transparent. If you would like for it to have a border color, you can select the color that you need. I'm going to fill the shape by selecting the Fill button and then select the color that I want. Now let's adjust it by right-clicking, Order, and Send to Back. I'm now going to create a list of what we're going over in this meeting. I've created another text box and I've now have all of that here. I'll add some images to make everything pop and bring some color. This is a great page to use to help keep things simple, but to prepare your team for what to expect. I now want to add a border. I'm going to do Shapes, Rectangle. Throughout my presentation, I'm going to select for Fill, Transparent, Border. I'm going to select the orange, and I'm now going to select the weight. So that I can continue to move things on my slide, I'm going to right-click, Order, Move to Back. So now my outline will be at the back of my slide, and I can still move other things around. To move through our slides, we'll want to ensure that we keep with similar themes. Each slide, I'm going to bring up a different part of our meeting or agenda. As next, I will prepare my team to know that we're going to have a group discussion. If you want to keep with similar fonts, you can select your font by highlighting, Format Paint, head to the slide, and then click. As you can see, this is very large, so we're going to need to adjust our text boxes. If you want to have a presentation or a video, you can select Insert a Video, and you can search YouTube or your Drive. You can paste a URL or search YouTube directly, hit Enter, select your video, Insert, and we now have that here. You can also add a drop shadow. These features in Google Slides allows you to create an eye-catching presentation along with utilizing collaboration and helping to share and bring out ideas. Here we have created a roadmap using shapes and lines. Just as in Docs, you can select Share and you can add sharing rules for different people. For this teacher, they're going to be able to edit, and I'm going to hit Send. If I want someone to only to be able to comment, again, I will just make them a commenter. As my team has regular meetings, I will create and move slides. The next time we have a group discussion, I can just right-click, select Duplicate Slide. By selecting Duplicate, make minor adjustments to the slide, but then right-click, skip slide so it's no longer in the presentation. This way, I still have my meeting agenda and what will happen without removing old slides, but they will not be seen in the presentation. Just as in Docs, you can adjust formatting by adding bullets, adding spaces before and after the end of the paragraph, and by adjusting the spacing between lines. Whenever you're done with your slide, and maybe you need to start a new presentation, you can select Slides Home and begin a blank presentation. You can also adjust the page setup in Slides to create more of a newsletter or a one-pager like document by selecting File, Page Setup, and let's select Custom. To make this the size of a normal letter, we're going to make it 8.5 and then 11 inches and hit Apply. Now our slide is the size of a normal page. I'm going to select Blank and begin to create a school newsletter. First the background. Done. I'm going to add some shapes. This is where I'm going to have my news header along with my news information. Make sure the boxes are lined up. If you have a shape you don't like, you can select on the shape, right-click, and select Change Shape. We're now going to add a title and fill in our text boxes. Creating a first text. This time I want to align this to the right side. Now I'll add my graphics. Again, you can copy and paste from the web, another slide, or import them from searching through Google. I already have my graphics picked out. Again, as we layer graphics, right-click, order, send backwards. Now using the tools that we just learned with creating shapes, text boxes, layering, format painter, and inserting images, I was able to create a classroom newsletter for my location. Each week I will highlight upcoming events, after-school activities, reminders for everyone, along with some news or accomplishments happening. So now I want to share this. We can share Google Slides in multiple ways by selecting Share, anyone with a link in that they can view, copy the link. We can also publish this by selecting File, Share, and Publish to the web. Publish to the web allows us to give access to our Google Slide to a group of people instead of individually. After selecting Publish to the web, hit the drop-down for Publish Content and Settings. You should always restrict to Jefferson County Public Schools for documents or slides that need to be seen by the school only. If it needs to go to parents, you must remove the check. But for in-house or internal documents, always select for strict access to the following: JCPS. Hit Publish. It will ask if we're okay and we want to publish. we now have a URL of our published document. You'll copy your URL, open a new tab, and then paste the URL into the address bar. After hitting enter, you will now see the article that you just created in a published view. You can share this in a chat or an email link. Now let's move into once you've created a slide deck or presentation on how we can present that. After you open your slides, whether it's for a meeting agenda, a worksheet, a lesson plan, or a presentation, when you're ready to present that, you'll want to select the slideshow option at the top. For this lecture or lesson that I have planned for my class, I'm going to have the slide deck ready and then hit slideshow. So while we're presenting, as I speak, we can move from slide to slide by either clicking with my mouse or hitting the enter key. As I hit enter, I will see my slides change from one to another, and I'm able to present my lesson to my students. When I'm ready to stop presenting my slide deck, I can hit the three dots and hit exit slideshow, or I can hit escape from my keyboard. If you have arrow keys on your keyboard, you can use the arrow keys to go forward. You can also just hit enter. The three dots on the slideshow presentation will also show you some other abilities that you'll have in your slideshow, such as autoplay, if you want to download a PDF, if you have notes for your presentation, turning on a laser pointer or pen, and of course, exiting full screen or exiting slideshow. In slides, you can also present your slideshow on a different screen. We can find this feature right next to the slideshow, down arrow, and then click Presentation Display Options. This multi-monitor support enables presenters to see their presentation view components, such as speaker notes and timer, on one display while displaying the slide presentation on an external monitor or screen. We'll click it here, and we can now see our options. We can display our slideshow on a different screen here. For this to be possible, you must have a screen connected to an HDMI or wirelessly. You'll want to establish the connection before hitting slideshow. We can use a presenter view, full screen, present at the beginning, or you can disable all these options. What this will do is keep our speaker notes and our slides on one screen, and our audience will just see the projected slides on another. If you'd like to add speaker notes to your presentation, you can do so by selecting View, Show Speaker Notes. You will now see at the bottom where you can type in your notes. So for this slide, I have a note that says Start Q&A. You can also, this little line here, you can slide that up and down to open notes. So when I present my presentation after this slide, I'll hit the three dots, open speaker notes, and I can slide that to another screen if I need and see my notes. Or my notes will show me what I can say, or for this, I want to start a question and answer section. A question and answer for slides allows your students or your audience to ask questions or provide answers when you ask questions in your lecture. You can enable this by selecting the speaker notes or on the three dots, More, Q&A. Speaker notes, audience tools, Q&A. When you hit Start a New Q&A, a couple things will happen. You will see that if your students want to ask a question, they can do so by going to this site from their device. You can also disable the questions here and enable. As you scroll through your slides with your keyboard or mouse, your Q&A will show you the slide that you're currently on. With this Q&A feature, you can ask questions from your slides such as what organisms live in this picture, and you can have the students answer that question directly for you. Let's walk through how that works. When I'm presenting on a lesson and I want to have a Q&A session, I like to do this by sharing the link of my slides with my students. You can do this a couple different ways. I like to hit share and publish to the web. Check your settings, restrict to the following, and start publishing. Are we sure we want to publish? Yes, we do. I'll then copy and paste this, copy and paste, and then I'm going to open this up in my browser just to ensure that my presentation is how I want it to look. As we hit enter, the slides move forward. Now I'm going to post this in my classroom for my students. We're going to head to classwork and post a material. We're going to call this our week 2 lesson, and then we're going to put that link in here. All right, we now have our presentation, and we're going to post it. You can also share this slide deck by share with others, anyone with a link, and they can view. That way they will view the slide deck just like you would, where they can scroll through the different slides instead of in a presentation mode. As we go back to our slideshow, if we want to have a Q&A, as we scroll through, again, more Q&A, start new. This is what it will look like for the students. They will have the slide, and then they will have the link up at the top. If you share the slide deck with the students, they can click on this link instead of copying and pasting. If you want to present from a smartboard or ClearTouch panel, you can have the students type in the address. This is what the Q&A will look like for the students. So if we ask the question, what organisms live in this picture? The students can type in their answer and hit submit. As soon as they hit submit, we will see that here from our presenter view. So as a presenter, we can see what they say. Also, we can thumbs up it, down, whatever we need. And the student can ask questions as they go through. Now let's walk through what this would look like from the student's view. As we've just posted this new lesson or material in our classroom, the student will see that either in their classwork or in the stream. Let's click on that. A new tab will open and the students can begin following along. Another new feature in Google Slides is the ability to mark up a slide while in slideshow mode. Select slideshow or present. Select the 3 dots in the bottom left-hand corner. Turn on pin. This is a great feature to use with creating an interactive activity with your students in your classroom. You can present your Google Slides on your ClearTouch or Smartboard. After you enable the pen, you can then select the color: green, red, black, and you can also turn it back off. The eraser is directly next to the pen color, along with your other features. So now on our slide, we can head over to our text box and begin to use the pen. And then again, we can select the eraser and erase all. When you or your students mark up a slide, it does not save the changes. After marking up the slide and then removing slideshow mode, we see that the pen and the marks have disappeared. Google has released a new feature allowing you to see live pointers in a Google slide. This allows you and your collaborators to see each other's mouse pointers in real time. Co-creators and collaborators can easily point out specific text or visual elements within a slide in order to highlight an important information or content. As you add collaborators to your slide, you will see a different color pointer. As they work in the slide, you will be able to easily see what they add and what you add. To enable the live pointers, you will go to View, Live Pointers, Show Collaborator Pointers, Show My Pointers. To disable this, you will select on the tool and remove the check. We can now no longer see the collaborators text box. The live pointers can also be enabled by selecting the pointer on the top right corner of the screen, selecting the down arrow, and then you can make your adjustments. Now let's get into how we can create recordings with Google Slides. Once you're in your slide, you should see a recording option. Students and staff can make recordings of their slides. This recording can also be put into your presentation later. I'm going to create a recording on this lesson for my students, and then I'm going to put it in the Google Classroom for them to watch later. As you can see, you'll get this pop-up that says you can create a recording of your presentation with your camera to embed in your slides. Let's record a video now. The recordings can only be up to 30 minutes. Once you select to begin your recording, you will see your face on the bottom corner. When you're ready to begin the recording, you'll hit the Start Recording red button. If you want to start on a different slide, just hit the arrows to move the slides along. If you have notes for your presentation, you'll hit the speaker notes for those notes to pop up. If you want to record just your voice and not have your camera on, select the Turn Off Camera option. You will also see on the left side of the red recording button a Turn Off Microphone. Let's start the recording. I'm going to turn my camera back on and hit Start Recording. You'll want to ensure that your audio and camera are enabled. We'll hit Allow. We'll have a countdown, and now we'll see our recording. And we can walk through our lesson. We can start our lecture by saying, what is the past tense of the word above? Give the students a moment to answer the question. We can give them the correct answer and move through. We can create an entire lesson or lecture for our students. When you're done, you'll hit the pause recording. You will then see at the top that you have the option to re-record or save it to your drive. After hitting Save to our drive, we will see that it's been uploaded to our Google Drive. We will now head back to our slide presentation and see our video recording. We can then head to our Google Drive to view the video. And this is where our video or slide recording will be housed. Google Slides also gives you the ability to create assignments and activities in your classroom, such as this activity where we have inserted a video. To insert videos, you can select Insert Video. We've created a slide of directions and then an activity where the students will grab words and paste it onto the clipboard. These words are simply just images that we have copied and pasted. As you can see, we can replace the image or crop the image. With cropping an image, you can also change the shape and the callout. You can provide an outline. Just as for this word yesterday, I have created a dark gray outline. You can change the color of the outline and adjust how thick or thin you want the outline. If you do not want an outline on an image, select the border color pencil and hit Transparent. This will remove any outline. As we move through the created worksheets, on the next slide, the students will have shapes that they will move. To ensure that each student can create and complete their own assignment, we're going to hit Share. Anyone with a link can view. Copy link. Now let's head to our Google Classroom and create the assignment. After opening up our class, we'll head to Classwork, Create, Assignment. You can either attach the slides directly from your Google Drive or by a link. Add link. We will then select how we would like the students to see or manage the file. We're going to create a copy for each student. Since we have selected Make a Copy for each student, whenever the student clicks on their assignment, It will automatically create the Google Slides into their Google Drive, allowing each one to be able to submit their activity and work independently. Another way to enhance your lesson or activity for your students in slides is to add Speaker Spotlight. On the toolbar, you'll see the Speaker Spotlight option. This will allow you to have a little shape or blurb on your slide where you can present or give directions on that slide. So I've just created this homework lesson for my students. And now what I'm going to do is on my directions page, I'm going to have a nice little video on some instructions for them. So I'm going to select what shape I want it to be. You'll then see that pop through here. And then I'm going to put it on the bottom corner. You can preview with your camera on. You'll want to make sure that you enable to use your camera. And then when I'm ready to present my slides, you will see the camera. So when I present my slideshow, the students can watch a video. When we get to the directions slide, the students will see the camera at the bottom, and I will read the directions to them. Speaker Spotlight is also great when you're presenting to colleagues. Let's walk through enabling Speaker Spotlight one more time. This is where my audience will see my face when I'm ready to present. Let's hit present for the slideshow one more time, use the camera, and then now I can greet everyone for the meeting while having my slide open. This is a great way to keep our slides personable and have interactions with our students or our teams. When you're ready for the camera to go off and disable the speaker spotlight, just hit escape and you will no longer have your camera on. You can make the speaker spotlight as large or small as you need it to be. You can put it on multiple pages as well. If you want to adjust the shape on the top toolbar, you can select to mask speaker spotlight, hit the down arrow, and then select the different shape that you want. I'm going to select a star. Now as I present my slideshow for the true or false game for my students, they will still see me. Let's walk through how that works now. As I've presented the true or false game for my students, when I hit enter and move from slide to slide, they will still see my camera as I move through it. If I go back, the speaker spotlight stays enabled, and then you'll see it again on this page here. We can utilize slides a little differently from our normal presentations to create an engaging assignment or activity for students. I've created this activity by adding links from one slide to another. So for category 1, I can enter the topic or title and then move down here. This text box also has a link in it. By clicking on these squares, you can see the slide that it's linked to. The $100 question is linked to slide 3. I can also add the category title here at the bottom, and then on answer, this is also a button. You'll see here that this will go to the next slide, and the answer is slideshow. Again, as we scroll up, what do you select to put your slides in presentation mode? The slideshow button. Let's walk through how that would look like for the students. So at the very start of our game, we're going to hit slideshow, and then we'll click on the start. So each button is a button that I've created myself with a link from one slide to another. So hitting start goes to our game board. We've already done the first question, so let's go to category 1 for 200. What does this symbol represent? Now we're just going to click on answer. This button is also a link to another slide that I've created. Click on answer, and we now see that the answer is speaker spotlight. And you can scroll by using your arrow keys back and forth between the question and answer. So again, the question, what does this symbol represent? And then speaker spotlight. And then I have a home button to always go back to the main game board. And you don't have to go to the questions in order because again, each dollar amount is a link to another slide. So now let's select category 6. Let's do 400. Where are the recordings from Google Slides stored? So after we create a recording using slides, where do they go? How can we retrieve those? Now we'll click on Answer, the Google Drive of the person that starts the recording. To go into detail, multiple people can work and collaborate on a slide at the same time. Just as we saw with the pointers, the collaboration pointers will show you who is in that slide. When someone starts a recording, whoever starts that recording will be the owner of it and it will be stored in their drive. If others need access to the recording, they will need to share it. Let's head back home. And our last question, let's do category 6 for 500. What is the difference between speaker spotlight and recording? This one's tough. A speaker spotlight shape streams your live video feed directly into your presentation. And a recording is a video that you make in slides that can be viewed at any point in time. Recordings are not live. So Speaker Spotlight is not a video that you can reference later. It is only your presentation in that given time. And when I'm ready to end this, I can go home or just hit my escape and go back. And again, I'll show you what those slides look like. So for 400, we see this, slide 59. I can jump to that slide and make my adjustments. And for the category 1 200, I inserted a image to help with the question. As you're collaborating and working in slideshow presentations and slide decks, you may need to see what activity has been on those slides. You may need to see the changes that your collaborators are making or the changes that your students have made if you're working in student groups. You can do this by selecting the little clock up at the top of the screen. It will automatically show you when the slide was last edited. Once you click on it, you'll see a full version history. If you see a little arrow, by clicking on it, you can see each edit that was made throughout that day. If there has been a mistake and you need to revert to a previous version, hit the 3 dots, restore to this version. Or you can make a copy if you need to make a new copy. And that copy will be a copy of that version. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to restore to that version. Hit restore, and then it will now be loaded. You can view this video and other JSPS Google resources at jsps.me/TLC and selecting Google for Education. You can also search our videos on our Digital Learning channel by clicking on Digital Learning channel or JSPS Quick Links Digital Learning channel.